There's a storm coming.
What are you?
I'm Gotham's reckoning.
Why didn't you just kill me?
Your punishment must be more severe.
Do you think he's coming back?
I don't know.
You don't owe these people anymore. You've given them everything.
Not everything. Not yet.
My mother warned me about getting into cars with strange men.
This isn't a car.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Worse, and we're gonna be reviewing
Finally doing
the
Dark Knight
final
Rises.
Dark Knight movie, or of the Dark Knight Trilogy by
We
Christopher
just watched it
Nolan.
on Blu-ray the other day. And so we're a little late on doing the review. We watched it, and then we've watched several movies since then. But oh well, I can still remember it because I've seen it several times. Opinions, guys, on casting and other things about it?
I mean, there's not much as far as the cast goes, as far as differences on this one. I mean, Christian Bale, once again does a good job as Batman Bruce Wayne, and this one has a lot of the same elements as Batman v Superman, which honestly I feel like this film did it better as far as the broken Bruce Wayne, because this one has a lot of elements of the Dark Knight Returns as well. Especially the Bruce Wayne that's gone into hiding. He's not been Batman for at least 8 years in this film. He's been retired for like 15 years in the Dark Knight Returns. So, but yeah, this Batman is, he's damaged, especially from the fall after the Dark Knight when he falls and hurts his leg. He's walking with a cane. He's, he's doesn't know what to do with himself. That's one thing they really touch on, because in Batman v Superman, he's still being Batman.
It's very cool to see Anne Hathaway, spoilers, Catwoman, go, and she's working as a whatever maid or whatever, where she goes in and she gives him food, and Alfred's just unlock the door, take the tray, put it on the table, and go out the door and lock it again. Nothing more. And I love that because they try to build up Bruce Wayne and give some mystery to him, because all these people would have all these theories on oh, he's this long-nailed old man now and all that, and it's just is that what they say about me? It's really great. Christian Bale plays, to me, actually probably even better than the other two movies, the kind of more worn out Bruce Wayne. I think he does that so well. And I love Anne Hathaway is new to the cast, by the way, and I think she's a great Catwoman. I don't know, Colin, what did you think about Cat? Because I don't think I've gotten your opinion on her as Catwoman yet.
I like it. It's more of a modern take on Catwoman.
Yeah, because her suit's very modern.
If you look at we'll get to this review in time, but if you look at the Catwoman from, say, the 1992 Batman Returns film, that one's more of a comic book Catwoman as far as the costume goes. This one still was this suit was borrowed from the more modern comics, and they did a really good way of hiding the ears. I like how they used the goggles. Even though she doesn't wear them as much, when she flips the goggles back, it looks like the ears. So that was a really subtle thing, but I like how they did that. But this one. She did a really good job, and I know a lot of people were, as they are with most actors that take on an iconic character, they're really hesitant, and a lot of people didn't like her, but honestly, I thought she did an okay job, and I really enjoyed her. Her performance was good. She was, for a better term, she knows how to play that sexual tension between her and Batman, which is very, needed for Batman and Catwoman, because in the comics, she's very... She loves messing with Batman. She loves messing with Batman, and he enjoys it, but but he's very cautious.
He's kind of annoyed at the same time.
Yeah, he's very cautious of her, and that I feel like she did that very well.
One of my favorite scenes, and as a Batman fan, I loved it when I saw it in theaters, and I love it now on Blu-ray. Just like whenever she's holding that guy hostage and all those people surround them, he's like, I'm not bluffing, they know, they just don't care. That part is so cool because you see them fight together, and like that was a true Batman moment where he's up on the railing and he's like hiding until he jumps down and fights with her. That was cool. That's Batman to me. And so we needed moments like that really count. To me, this movie does such a good job at making it feel like Gotham is at its end. Like, that's what makes this, that's why I like this movie so much. A lot of people have so many complaints about Rises, and I don't really see it. I can enjoy this movie just as much as The Dark Knight, even though I feel like I like The Dark Knight more. But after I watch The Dark Knight, I always have this, urge to watch Rises. It's just it's a back and forth thing. If I watch Rises, I want to watch Dark Knight. It's bounce back and forth. I love it. I love that it's Bane's got this whole plot to just straight up end Gotham, and they have no choice. He kills the guy that creates the bomb and all that. He kills him, and he's just like, yeah, that's it. Gotham will be destroyed within months or whatever, and it's a really cool story in that way. It feels very epic, on top of how awesome the soundtrack is.
I feel like Gary Oldman did a really good job again as Commissioner Gordon. And this really does, it picks up, like I said, 8 years after The Dark Knight. So, Gotham has been led to believe that Batman, of course, did all the things that Harvey did, and they're, still holding Harvey as this righteous man that did nothing wrong, and that Batman killed him. Gotham is limping, is basically what it is. And they basically see it as, they call it peacetime. They see it as nothing, all the criminals are still in Blackgate. They're not, there's not a lot of crime on the street. Commissioner Gordon, they're talking about replacing him, and he's still struggling with the fact that he lied to everybody. He's lied to the entire city, and he's still in, the commissioner office. He's still doing it. Like I said, everybody is just wondering where Batman is. They honestly don't know. Some people want him to arrest him. After all these years, some people, want him back because, some people see him as a hero. So, honestly, like I said, this takes a lot from The Dark Knight Returns. It's like he said, Gotham has reached its breaking point, and it's honestly like Gotham doesn't know what to do without Batman. And the same thing with Batman himself. Bruce Wayne doesn't know what to do now that he doesn't have to be Batman anymore. And that leads into Michael Caine saying, you hung up the cape and the cowl, but you never knew how to let go of it. He truly didn't know how to just move on. He has to be Batman, and now that he can't, it's killing him. He's got a messed up leg. He's getting older. His body's deteriorating. He's really, he's falling apart literally from the inside, and it's very difficult for him because he feels like he didn't do good enough. And that's really the whole point of the film, is him basically confronting his fear and letting go of Gotham. That's really what the
best dialogue for Michael Caine, I think, about the whole trilogy as well. Just all the little pep talks he gives them is just absolutely brilliant. I love the one where he's in the cave and he's like, I never wanted you to ever come back from being gone for so long. And all of that, just because he's like, all I know is that Gotham has always brought you pain, your parents died, yada yada. And so, he pretty much is telling him that without Batman, he's nothing. But he wants him to go be something, go find a woman or something. And I like where he's like, you trying to set me up with a jewel thief? Because, she stole his mother's necklace, and that's why he's even doing more detective work, is because this chick shows up and steals his mother's necklace.
And his fingerprints.
Yeah, so it's it kind of kickstarts him to do more of that, and eventually puts the cowl back on again. Which is brilliant, by the way. That whole scene is whenever they're in that, under that, I think it's under a bridge or whatever, and he's just that other cop, I guess, has never really seen Batman before, and he's like, oh, you're in for a show tonight, son.
Which is taken straight from The Dark Knight Returns.
That was great, because you don't see him until you see him, and so it was really well done.
Another cast member we didn't really touch on. I'm trying to make sure we know all the cast members, so that's why I'm trying to go back and make sure, is I don't remember her name, but she plays Miranda Tate, which turns out, spoilers, turns out to be a villain, which is Talia al Ghul, and I thought she did a really good job, even though her death was really odd. But
slumps over.
But yeah, honestly, I thought that was really good because it showed the love dynamic between her and Batman. Because in the comics, if you don't know, her and him have a child, Damian Wayne, and then we can't forget about the big guy himself, Tom Hardy as Bane, and that's another story or comic that this movie takes a lot of inspiration from is Batman Nightfall, which is the first time, of course, Bane gets introduced, and the whole prison thing where he brings Batman down into the prison. He didn't bring him down into the prison in the comics, for those of you that don't know. He was just raised in a prison, and then he basically comes to Gotham to try to basically rule the criminal underworld, and he knows that he can't take Batman by himself. So basically he lets all the inmates out of Arkham, and basically makes Batman round them all up one by one in basically like 3 months. And basically during that time he studies Batman and he watches him and he figures out his identity. And then of course you have the infamous, in the film and in the comic, the infamous backbreaking scene. And my friend Ryan here mentioned when we were watching it that I told him how epic the backbreaking scene was in the comic, because in the comic he like kicks the crap out of Batman big time before he finally does it, which he does in the film. But in the comic, it's a slower pace, it's built up, and then when you finally see it, it's just a whole page of just him just breaking Batman's back. And then in the film, it's over in like 2 seconds. and it's done. It's not really built up. I think if they would have slowed it down, he mentioned, if they'd slowed the camera down, done it slow motion, kind of built it up a little bit, it would have been a little more epic. But, those are the two big comic book influences for this film, which are still great Batman stories in their own right.
My favorite whole entire section of this movie is when he is in the prison and he has to heal up again and fix his back, and he uses so much anger to fuel himself to make the climb out of the top of that thing, which also I love that reminds him sort of like when he was a kid and he fell down in the hole. It's like a lot of symbolism.
It's metaphor.
And whenever he gets back up there, there's all bats start flying out. That was really cool. Which is a really nice touch. But on top of that, that's where the soundtrack comes from as well, those chants and stuff. That's probably my favorite song of the whole thing.
With the combination of the rise, I really love the beat, the rhythm. It's so tribal almost.
Has all the drums.
It's really awesomely done.
It's if you want to go and do put that on during a workout, you'll really pump your iron, because that's really one of those really inspirational songs. It gets you pumped, gets you hyped, and that's what I like about it. And that's all of the Dark Knight music. It gets you pumped.
It's all an amazing cast. They all came back, thankfully. And with the new members, like Tom Hardy is virtually unrecognizable. He still plays an awesome role as Bane. I love the Bane character a lot. But, with his voice change and he's just masked, there's no way you really know it's him.
He's a big voice.
But, with and Catwoman, Anne Hathaway, I had no problems, no quarrels with.
I love this movie. It's a great wrap up to the trilogy. I like the little Robin nod, which by the way I didn't even talk about that. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh yeah, we.
Is
oh my gosh,
an amazing little addition to this movie. He is I don't even think I was really a fan of him until Dark Knight Rises, and then after that I started watching more of his movies, and I was like, I really like this guy. And he wasn't necessarily. I was telling Colin, I kind of had an epiphany after watching this recently. Was wait a second. So they kind of did Robin without doing Robin. He helped people in the movie. He was a cop. He was a detective as well. Gordon was awesome enough to give him a promotion, and he saw his skill. And I like that he's oh, your real name, Robin, or whatever. Yeah. It was a nice little nod. I really, really liked that, and it got everyone in the theater to go what? It was really, really cool. Because he technically helped Batman, so he really was Robin in the movie without actually putting on the suit and stuff, which was really cool. My final thoughts, like I said, I love this movie. I could watch it a lot. I think it's the longest one of the trilogy, so it's when you sit through it, you're okay. You know, but I really, really like it. The epicness of the whole wrap-up. I love that they ended the trilogy with pretty much, man, Gotham's just going to be destroyed if Batman doesn't stop it. And the ending is super epic. He takes the bomb, and it ignites, and, you know, it's... Kolyn had an explanation for, like, hey, he's Batman.
Yeah,
he survived,
Gotham.
you know,
Yeah,
like,
Gotham thinks he's dead. That's another.
You know, I personally, that's my number one problem with this, is I just don't see how he could have survived that. There's absolutely no way. It was an atomic bomb. It's like, how do you eject and get away in time or whatever?
And it showed him in.
So I
in
almost
there
feel.
right before it
So
went
I
off,
almost feel
it-
like the Alfred scene at the very end. He was just sort of imagining that. I don't know.
See, that's what I've always
mean,
considered, but
because-
it's just like...
but-
They've even said he survived. Though.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, and I want him to survive it. Yeah, I want him to survive this whole thing. So it would suck to just like, oh, Batman dies at the end of this trilogy. It
Yeah,
would
because
suck.
that's another reference to the Dark Knight Returns, because in that book, after the fight with Superman, he fakes a heart attack, and basically everybody thinks he's dead, so he goes underground and basically starts to train people to become crime fighters, but he's basically retired from being Batman. So Gotham thinks he's gone, but I like this movie because it finally, which, you know, we'll probably never get an end to the Batman story, especially in the comics, because people are always going to be reading the comics, myself included. But this one, I feel like Batman finally got his happily ever after. I mean, he let go of Gotham, he's done, and he, you know, he's with the girl of his dreams, and then he's going to start a family. I mean, I feel like he got, you know, it's a good closing of a book. And, I mean, honestly, my whole thought, because they've been asking me, you know, which is my favorite between all these movies, and honestly, I mean, I don't have one. I consider it all to be one movie. That's my big thing that I was holding back on. I don't have a favorite. Because to me, like I said, it's all one movie. It's all about the Batman character. I mean, Christopher Nolan, he did his homework really well. He took the best of what Batman did in the comics and just the Batman lore and the Batman character as a whole, and basically just took the best elements and made 3 good films, and they're very well regarded. And I love how much respect he paid to the character. It means a lot to me as a fan, and I mean to millions of people all over the world that love this character. So I love the whole trilogy. It's all one great movie.
Rewatching this whole trilogy, I've had more time to think about, like, you know, which one is my favorite, which one could I settle on. I'd love to agree on you with that, Colin. Like, I'd love to consider them all one movie, which I'm not above doing. I mean, I would consider it all, because they're all very similarly directed by Nolan, and it's one flowing story. I mean, even though it's years later from Rises and Dark Knight, but honestly, I've always just considered, and you made a good point about this, about Dark Knight, about why it's our favorite more, it's just slightly above the rest. Like it's just slightly right, but it's still right here. Like, and to me, that's only because I guess I just watched it more and got more attached to it. It's more quotable, and I just simply remember it more. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the better movie, because
watching any of the films makes you want to
yeah,
watch
like
the
they're
rest
all
of the films. They're all so
even.
good. Yeah,
They're
really
even,
good.
but it's just
There's
if I
just different
had-
elements in each one that are better. Like the
Like-
Joker's my favorite villain in the whole thing, but
Yeah.
Rises just has this certain epicness I love even more than Dark Knight.
What I
So-
respect about this whole trilogy as a whole, like if I were to give one final thought on the whole thing, is really, I think anyone can enjoy this whole trilogy. Whether you're a fan, whether you're not really a fan, whether you're young, whether you're old. This really appeals to, you can watch it casually, or you can watch it as a hardcore fan. Like you can, either way. I mean, you can enjoy it however you choose to watch it, and that's something I've always respected about this whole trilogy, because it can get really heavy if you're really sucked in, or it can be really fun if you're just watching it to watch a movie. So, I mean, I really respect Nolan for doing this trilogy right. It's done right. I don't know any other way to say it. I mean, it's awesome. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was our review, or final review, for the Dark Knight Trilogy, because there's not any more.
Dark Knight Rises. If you have seen this movie, let us know in the comments what you think about it, or just the trilogy as a whole. What did you think about any of our points, and is Batman dead or not?
Also, you can check out my original Dark Knight Rises. I mentioned that in the Batman Begins. It probably means nothing at this point, but whatever it exists, go look at it. You know. put it down below.
As for other reviews and reactions that we do, they exist, so look at them.
Press the shiny buttons.
And subscribe. Like button, please.
When I'm stretching out our vowels.
He was stretching.
Out his vowels.